thank you to the folks at Wiseco. They support a lot of teams in the pits, 2-stroke, 4-stroke pistons. They have the variety of those, from reliable forged replacements to the performance-focused Racer Elite Series. There's a code to save at Wiseco on PulpMXShow.com, and whether it's the Garage Buddy rebuild kits, clutch and valve train components, or pistons, go to PulpMXShow.com, hover over the Wiseco logo, and use that code to save from the folks at Wiseco. Factory Honda as well uses Wiseco. And speaking of Wiseco, speaking of Factory Honda, we have our first guest on the line, one of the members of Team USA that brought home the trophy, Chase Sexton. What's up, Chase? How are you, man?
How's it going, guys?
Thanks for
apologize in advance. My voice is gone from yesterday. So.
Well, you don't need to apologize for
crap.
You don't need to apologize for anything for a very long time.
I appreciate you coming on the day you flew back the next day. So thank you very much for our listeners for coming on, man. If you had said to me, hey, man, I'm still hammered, I don't want to come on, I would have understood it totally. So don't worry.
No, I actually drove back to Illinois today, so I didn't even fly.
Oh, okay.
Back to Florida. I'm still in Illinois, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, congratulations, man. What a day, what a night. You admitted to me that the nerves were pretty high for you. What's it like today, the day after you broke the winless streak and brought it home? And like, what's the feeling the day after for you?
I guess the biggest thing for me is just relief. I'm glad that it's over, but glad we obviously won because it was a long build up. People were talking about it, I feel like, for I don't know, since the Red Bud got announced. So, and I didn't want to have a repeat of 2018, and then with the rain added on to that, there was just a lot of pressure. And the first moto, I was very, very tight. Was able to get through that one, and then the nerves didn't really hit me until Sunday morning. Honestly, like Saturday I was fine, and then Sunday I woke up and everything kind of hit me. And then my second moto, but the third race, I rode a lot better, more like myself. But yeah, it's a different feeling when you're racing for something other than yourself. And if you mess up, it's not just about you; it's about the country. So it's a lot weighing on your shoulders, and I'm glad I got to experience it for the first time. And it's over with now, but I'm stoked that we were able to win. It's been a while, and yeah, happy to be able to kind of just get that over with, and hopefully we can get back on a winning streak now. I
mean, maybe the team just needed Chase Sexton. Maybe that was it. We were just waiting for Chase Sexton to be on the team. He's 1-0.
1-0.
Right, 1-0. Right.
So
if we can keep that record up, we'll be in a good spot.
So Chase, you mentioned that your first moto, which is Moto 2. You're following Mattia Guadagnini there, and it's probably not a rider you know a lot about. I'm sure you've maybe seen him at MXGP or whatever, but I was watching and I'm like, Chase has to be getting frustrated because he's having to be so patient here. There were so many times where Guadagnini just kind of cut you off, and every time you're like making a move, he would just kind of move over on you. And I was thinking, if this was like a month ago, he either just blows by him or cleans this dude out for the moves he's making. I'm like, I knew you were in this tough spot, and I just kind of wanted to know your thought process going through that, because to me it looked like you were so hesitant because you didn't want to blow it, but at the same time you're just like, dude, get out of my way already.
Yeah, it was really just a mixture of the track conditions with it being wet and sloppy. It's really hard to kind of move out of the main line and at least trust something to make a pass stick. So that was on my mind. And then obviously, like I said before, it's different when you're racing for the country and it's not like a personal thing. Like if this was me racing for an outdoor win or anything else, it would have been a different story. But even third moto, I wanted to go after Renault. I felt like I was faster, but at the same time, I'm like, to make a pass and not kind of ride on the edge is probably not likely. So I just honestly was just kind of sitting back and being patient, because like I said, it's one thing if I make a mistake and it's just for me, but when I make a mistake and the whole country's on your back, it's a different story. So you're going to have to, I had to not, I guess, bite my ego a little bit, but I just had to be thinking bigger picture yesterday. It was definitely a different feeling than I've ever felt before, because I didn't really feel like I rode good in the first moto, but second moto, I felt like I had the speed to win the moto, and I didn't obviously go after it. So if it would have came to me easier, or if I felt like it was somewhere I could make a pass for sure, maybe it was a different story, but it wasn't really, I felt like, in the cards, and it was just a different mentality that I haven't really dealt with before, because it's always usually for me and my individual, I guess, benefit.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, for the team and for the team, it's the better thing was for me to be patient. And I didn't really know where Eli was, so it was kind of like I didn't really know what to do. So I just tried to be bigger picture and kind of hold back. But first moto, I was being very patient because I didn't want to do anything stupid like I did on Saturday.
702-586-7857. You want to call in and talk to Team USA. Chase Sexton, go ahead. Brought to you by the folks at Wisco Piston.
Yeah, you also, and we can almost see it as you're riding in Moto 2. Did you have goggle problems?
Yeah, the first moto, I had like really bad sweat issues, which is weird because. You guys hear me?
Yeah,
we're good.
We got you.
Oh, sorry. Someone called me, but I thought it hung up. First moto, I got like really bad sweat for some reason, and it was like, I don't usually wear roll-offs, and I was getting like super bad, like it was really blurry. But second moto, my third moto, I didn't have any goggle issues. It was just the first one. So.
Yeah, my bad. I'm calling it Moto 2. Your first Moto 2.
My first
Moto,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I had goggle, a little bit of goggle issue. Nothing that was wrong with the goggle, just a lot of sweat.
Yep.
And normally when you wear a new helmet, which I didn't really think of this weekend, you tend to sweat more, or the sweat doesn't absorb into the pads, and it kind of drips down into the goggles a little bit. So it was just it was honestly on me. So but it was honest. My riding wasn't good first moto. I wasn't very, very comfortable. That track condition was very, very different. But actually, I got used to it towards the end of the day, and was actually starting to have a lot more fun. So it was definitely a different Red Bull than I've ever ridden before.
So in that first moto, of course, you can see Guadagnini start doing the leap early, right? And the way they had the leap built, you lost a ton of time if you didn't do it, especially because the line was to the outside, right? If there was a good inside line, you can kind of cut the track shorter, cut down some of the advantage you would gain. But when you're forced to go outside and you still don't jump it, it penalizes you a lot. Was it something where you just didn't feel confident, like gearing-wise, you didn't want to blow out a rear wheel if you came up short? Because I know you had to be like, man, every time he's doing this thing, I got to start jumping this.
By the way, too, Chase, you had a wheel, a pretty good ding in one wheel, I heard, afterwards.
Oh, I did? Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
used it a few times the second moto.
Yep.
Well,
Anyway.
third moto, but my second moto. It was weird because the inside, it's obviously faster to go inside, but the inside was so soft that you couldn't carry really much corner speed. And that's the thing I had a hard time, I guess, adjusting to, was how soft the berms and everything were. You had to be so light on the bike and kind of figure out where to get on the gas at the right time. So going outside, we would come in so slow and just try not to bury into the corner to obviously get a drive for the leap. But yeah, he was doing it, and then I started doing it towards the middle to the end. But it was just a thing where the inside wasn't really working, even just doubling it. So you were kind of forced to go outside, and then when you don't do it, you feel like an idiot because you go outside and take all that room, and then you don't jump it. It's not the best. But yeah, I started doing it consistent the last moto. It wasn't easy. It was on Saturday. It was super easy, I felt like, but yesterday it was really soft in that turn, and you just really had to be patient with the biggest thing and to get over it. But when you get it clean, there's nothing like jumping the leap. It's so fun. Yeah,
definitely. Hey, what was the going into the third moto? Did someone tell you, hey, we have a nice lead, like, this is what we're going to do? Or was it on a pit board halfway through the third moto? What did you kind of think about as far as how the lead was going for the team win? How was that communicated to you?
Yeah, I mean, I knew where the points were. Obviously, I didn't want to think about it because we still needed a good score, at least one of them. So it was either Eli or I had to have a good moto. So they gave me the inside gate, which was a good gate. So I came out really good, which honestly, it all comes down to that start. And it's very like fine line of, if you go inside, like it's good if you can get through the first turn, but everyone bottles up in there so much and it was soft. It was easy for somebody to go down and get a huge, or be in a pile up either there or the second corner. So my whole thing was just to get off the start and get through the first two corners and I'd be fine. So,
right.
I got through there, and then about 15 minutes in, I kind of knew where we were at, and that's where I just decided to kind of
Like they
playing smart a
was
little
it?
bit. I could see Eli. I think I was jumping the jump before the leap, and he was coming off the one coming into the sand roller. So
Yeah.
I was kind of trying to keep tabs on where he was at and make sure that we were in a good spot. So like I said, it's just a very different race, and something that it's always selfish when you race normally, and this is the opposite of that. So it was cool to get that, see that side of it, and definitely something I'll never forget. This weekend was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, Weeds Chase was telling me after the race, him and Tomac had like an hour-long discussion at dinner. Just
life.
Yeah, life stuff,
Yeah.
not even.
That's really cool.
It was crazy because Eli and we started talking about mountain biking and just random stuff. And him and I actually went on a mountain bike ride when I was probably 15. I was on Geico, and I went with him and his dad, Johnny T, and
Did they crush you? Did Johnny T just work you into the ground?
Yeah, actually, Eli is the one that smoked us. I was young, and we were supposed to go on like a pretty easy ride, and Eli kind of just motored away from us. So
he knew 2022 was coming. He had to send a message early.
we got up halfway up the hill, and it's called Indian Truck Trail. It's a fire
Oh yeah,
climb.
yep, we know that.
We got halfway up, and we see these road workers working on the fire road, and they tell us, like, yeah, we just saw a mountain lion cross through here like 20 minutes or 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. But don't worry, he looked like he didn't look hungry, so you guys should be fine. So I sat in between my old trainer John Westling and John Tomac, and I was so scared going up that. But that's my first memory memory with Eli. But we talked about we sat there for an hour and 15 minutes talking about random stuff, which was cool after the season we went through.
At the top of the hill, Eli's there just petting the mountain lion. Just scared it in oblivion. Hey, what I thought was cool was you kept referencing, oh, man, it was like 2018 with the rain and all this. And I was like, yeah, but he wasn't on the team. I did not know. You attended the 2018 event as a spectator. That's wild.
I was there, and I almost felt like I was racing. That's how – I guess I can't be super upset because, I mean, obviously I know how hard the guys work, and they wanted to win. And Eli – all those guys want to win, but I know how disappointed they were, and I was very disappointed because as an American, no matter if you're racing the race or not, you want America to win, and I was obviously in attendance for that one, and it was just a nightmare day for the team, and that is something that was replaying through my head on Sunday morning that I didn't want that to happen again. So glad that we could right that wrong a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you guys got to ride Red Bud a little bit before the race? Did that help at all, or just – hey man, the conditions were so bad? Like, or did it help your confidence? Did it do anything at all to help you for the win?
No, it was the track was so much different. If it was Saturday, I felt like I felt like I was better on Saturday than I was on Sunday, just from the track conditions. But that was more what we were used to, and especially in the fall, the water doesn't. One, it's drier, and two, it just doesn't have as much water in it, so the track forms a lot different, and that's what it was kind of like on Saturday. It wasn't even like the National at all, but it was more what we're used to, and then Sunday is obviously a completely different animal. So it didn't really help, I don't think. It just it was, like I said, a completely different track than what we were used to riding.
Yep. So one thing I was really impressed with, not only you, but the rest of the team, Eli and Justin had really great starts too, but to use the scoop tire on a grate is not something that we really do, right? Like, if you guys choose the scoop tire, you're on dirt, and you don't start on a grate at all other than Supercross. So, like, I was like, those two combinations versus the MXGP riders, they do that all the time. That combination is what they use every single weekend, almost all year long. So, for you guys to be up there on the start all day long, really all weekend long, was really impressive. It wasn't something I expected. Did you guys feel confident with that setup? Like, it kind of played out that way.
Yeah, I actually, in my personal opinion, I actually like starting with the scoop tire on the grate more than like starting with it on the dirt.
Okay.
I think it's more predictable. And I've always been a better grate starter than dirt for some reason. I guess it's just more consistent, and it's something that you can replicate every single time. So I'm really comfortable on the grates, and those things have so much grip. It's hard for me to, I guess, I don't know if the Supercross one has more grip or this one. They feel similar, but they obviously look a lot different. So that was something we kind of had to play into. But we did practice starts and all that. So, but they have unlimited grip. And then obviously after the gate, it was wetter on Sunday. But yeah, the scoop tire was the play. I don't think anyone had a regular tire on. I rode one in practice. I did like probably 2 laps with regular tire in practice. I said, yeah, that's not going.
That's not working.
Yeah. And honestly,
it's not going to happen.
It's something I talked to a few people, including Paul Malin, about, and I know that you had been back and forth. You weren't using it nearly as much as Eli Tomac was throughout the summer. And, you know, from my perspective, I was actually a little bit happy that the track was soft on Sunday, because I'm like, Chase is going to use the scoop tire now, which is going to help him on the start. Whether he wants to use it or not, his hand is going to be forced, which I think will help him on the start. So it was like this weird dynamic that I was having in my head. It's like, well, I want him to choose a scoop. He probably doesn't, you know, he wants to have a little bit more side grip and all these things on the track. But I just thought on the start it would be a huge kind of game changer.
Yeah, I actually, after I rode it in practice on Saturday, I pretty much rode off the regular tire. So
okay.
I was going to stick with the scoop, I think, no matter what. And it's honestly not even the side traction on the scoop that I find harder to ride. It's more of the ride height and the rear end.
Yep.
For me, if my rear is tall coming in the corners, that's when I struggle. And I had a little bit of that on Saturday in the qualifying race. It's getting tight because then I use a whole bunch of upper body. So that's something that I'm trying to get used to with the Pal tire, is getting used to having your rear a little bit taller coming in the corners, so it has that a little bit more height to the tire, and it makes a big difference on how the bike reacts to braking bumps and whatnot. So it's not even really the side bite for me. It's just more, it's easy in practice when you're riding with a scoop because you're so comfortable and you know where the bumps are, you know where to let off and all that. But when you're racing, it's a little bit harder to, I guess, just wrap your head around. So that's really, for me, the scoop tire. Like when Eli was running it this summer even, for me, I just thought the bike handles better with the regular tire on. So, but yeah, I'm trying to get more and more used to that scoop, because it seems like the more, as years go by, the more times we run it. So it's going to be something I need to use in the future a lot more.
Yeah, and I think from my perspective, I think they're going to keep developing that scoop tire and make it more versatile. So it's
they already have
open.
To a
Right,
degree,
right, and I think that's going to continue.
There's a new one out, right?
The 14 is. You maybe, I don't know if you've ridden the old one. You probably did, right? But it's not as much of a disadvantage, right? In spots.
Yeah, I think the scoop is really good. Like I said, the side bite and everything. Like, I think it's great, and the traction you get with those things is unbelievable. And that's something on the dirt starts that I struggle with, is the first release of the clutch is something I haven't yet figured out with the scoop tire. Like, I always feel like I let it out too fast with the scoop because it grabs so much, or I do the opposite and it just messes up my release a little bit. So that's another thing I have to work on. But it's the great. I felt like it was the equalizer. I felt like it was easier for me to get off more consistently. So I actually like the scoop on the great.
About the only negative for you all weekend, Chase, was Saturday's qualifying race.
Yeah.
When you got back to the truck, what'd your dad say to you? What did anybody say to you? Or did you just go, yeah, I know, and sit down?
So I get back to the truck, and my dad, he wasn't there. So
okay.
I get back, I go to the back, because I had a motorhome this weekend.
Yeah.
So I get in there and I see his shoes sitting outside. And so I'm like, oh boy, he's already in there. So I get in there, and he cracked open a Coors Light, and it's just kicked back in the recliner, just sitting there doing nothing. I'm like, oh yeah, this ain't good. But he just basically said that it was stupid, obviously. So
right.
I already knew that it was dumb.
You're like, yeah, got it, Dad. Just keep drinking the Coors Light. Don't worry about it. Right.
Hey, honestly, the thing I was most mad about was Ferrandis thought that he caused that mistake in his interview, and I'm about to rip my headset off and go have it out with him on the podium.
Why? What'd he say?
Well,
he basically was just
he looked back at me on the leap, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Right. Well, he's just like, yeah, I put pressure on him to close the lead down, and then he made a mistake, and I'm just like, stop it, dude. He was 4.6 seconds ahead of you.
Friendis
on the
is
white
low-key
flag.
cocky. Friendis is low-key cocky.
He deserves to be cocky, but I was like, that's not what happened.
That's just Dylan. Yeah, Dylan is that way. He's awesome. He's a good interview.
And I was fired up. I was like, no, no.
Yeah, he likes it. But
yeah, that was just me being an idiot. The line blew out, but I should have been. When it blew out, I tried to cut back the little single on the inside, and I wanted to get back to the left side going down the hill, and I cut back with the line being blown out and just lost the front end, and it was obviously on me. It was stupid move, and that didn't help my mind for Sunday either.
Shockingly.
I had to put that behind me, because if that happens on Sunday, for the next year, I'm gonna be hated by, or not hated, but I'm gonna get a lot of harsh comments on me and USA if they don't win if I do something like that. So that was something I had to kind of just mentally overcome and really focus in, because the track was easy to make a mistake on Sunday. So that was good. I didn't fall over on Sunday, so that was a positive.
Off the track, one of the funnier things I always like talking to Team USA guys about, and this is more in Europe than here, but did other teams, other riders come get your autograph or get photos with you? Because this happens more than a few times. Did anybody come and see you?
Yeah, a few riders, or not a few riders, but a few team members came over. I gave a jersey to one of the crew members or of the other team, and just it's kind of cool because one thing I thought was really cool about this race is racing other people and seeing different people at the races. I thought it was really refreshing, because normally we go to the races and we see the same people every weekend, and it doesn't get boring, but it's the same thing every weekend. So this weekend, it was just cool to see different people and meet new people, and I really honestly, I loved how the MXGP, like all the format, how everything's ran. It's really professional, and I thought it was cool. I've raced a USGP once before, but it's not at that scale, obviously. So I thought it was really cool, and I had a blast doing it because, like I said, I guess not that it's boring, but we do the same thing every weekend with the same people. So, but yeah, on your question, there were a few people that came up, but I want to go and experience that in a different country, because I think it'd be even, not that it wasn't cool at Redbud, but I want to go race a GP or nations over in hopefully France next year, but in a different country.
It's insane over there. It's cool in USA, but it's the next level in Europe. Yeah, a few years ago in France, one of the riders for the qualifying race was getting autographs from guys on a front number plate before he raced them. He was
on his bike.
He was going in the Parc Fermé. No, he had a spare number plate.
Oh, okay.
And he was going in the Parc Fermé and getting riders to sign the plate before the qualifying race. Yeah, in his gear. Yeah. So it's always funny to.
He's not afraid.
No, it was great. I love that stuff.
For you, since it was a home race, so to speak, did you have extra people that would not be there, like they wouldn't be there next year if you race in France, for example, or even if it had been at a different national track? Did you get to soak in the victory with some old friends and family, things like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was – I had a lot of people there that obviously from Illinois and people that my friends and family. So there was – I don't know how many people that I had there that I knew or close friends, but it was a lot. And then the coolest thing for me, I think, was, well, obviously winning and being on the podium. That was it. It felt like an F1 race or MotoGP, like that kind of like hype on the podium, which was cool. And then the parade on Friday was something that I will never forget. That was probably hands down the coolest thing I've got to experience ever. So it was cool. The Redbud fans are obviously wild, and that was just Redbud basically on steroids. And it was, like I said, something that I'll never forget. And I'm glad we were able to win because it made it that much better. But yeah, that podium when we got off the track, even when I crossed the finish line, because I was the first USA guy to get over the finish line, and we obviously won. So the ride to when I waited for Eli, like the fans on the fence, it gave me chills, like from there to the podium. So
that's awesome.
Like I said, I'm kind of at a loss of words for this weekend, and just the whole experience is something that, like I said, I'll never forget, and I want to experience it again. The only thing I wish is anyone, any member of the 80 people I saw wearing Team USA shirts
could have got to Justin Cooper to put his gear back on for the podium.
This is a very Steve thing.
I saw someone making fun of Justin because he had his goggles on wrapped around his neck on the podium because they said that you have to have your gear on for that, but it's hard for the MX2 guy. I don't know if you just stay in your gear or
I think, we've seen it both ways. It was probably wet and muddy, so you need to put fresh stuff on in this case. But many times the guys stay in their gear or they put it back on, they gear back up.
Trey Kennard told us yesterday that in 2010 he put fresh gear on
because he saw Weimer in jeans the year before. So, and I mean, this is 2022. I still bug Jake about wearing jeans on the MXdN podium. So I just wish someone would have got to J-Coop, been like, hey, man, throw on a new set of gear.
Yeah, there's so much to worry about here. You should definitely
This is going to be in the pictures for decades.
Right.
Don't be a Weimer.
It's a huge deal.
Don't be a Weimer.
I don't remember. I feel like it's more likely, or I don't know, was Hunter in gear or not?
He
was, I think. I feel like he was.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
You poor guys,
I was
though.
stoked on Justin. He was.
Yeah. His
His
fourth.
second moto was really, really good.
His fourth was a game changer for Team USA. It was great. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
What we were saying, the Renault and Ferrandis were 1-2 at the beginning of that third moto, and even with that, you guys still had a sizable, I think, 3 or 4 points on them because Jacob's fourth just gave you guys such a massive advantage.
Yeah, no, he definitely, that second moto he pulled through, and he, especially in those conditions, it was not easy, and man, he rode really good. Even the weeks leading up, he was riding really good, and you could tell that this was like his race, and he knew that there was people that didn't believe in him, and he came out, and I guess he definitely proved him wrong, and I think that was probably his best race all season, and maybe
it might have been
definitely his best race all season. Yep. He rode unbelievable, so I was stoked for him.
Are you gonna get some time off now, Chase? Or when do you get back to Soupy? When does that happen? Tuesday?
Yeah. So I'm off for this week, and then I'm staying here in Illinois just to kind of relax. I was here obviously before the race, but I was still training, so. Now I'll be able to relax, and then I'm going to California on Sunday, and I test Supercross next week already. Yeah. So, but after that, I'm going on vacation I probably won't ride for 3 weeks or so. Okay. But I need to get tested. I need to get we have a big test, I guess this bigger stuff that I need to get out of the way before, so they can get it all.
Yeah, they got to order the parts, right? Yep.
Yeah, that way I have a base, and when I come back to riding, I don't have to, I guess, worry about the first initial test, and I already have kind of a base set up, and that's something that will ease my mind, I guess, when I'm on vacation. So, but yeah, we have a lot of work to do for
yeah, the grind never stops. I remember going to the MXdN and coming back and testing Supercross on the Wednesday, and I flew back.
Yeah,
and we're back at the Supercross track Wednesday, and I'm like,
gosh.
What happened?
I think Trey is actually testing on Saturday, Sunday this weekend.
Yeah.
At the Honda test track, and then I'm riding Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have I was telling somebody yesterday, I'm at the press conference, and I'm already thinking about testing and preparation for Supercross, which is MX. The Nations was definitely big, and we definitely wanted to win that. But now my goals are set on Supercrosses. We got a lot to prove this year, so I'm excited for that, and it's going to be back to work here pretty soon.
And by the way, I'm fully on board with Lars over there. No blowing up the race bike. Glad to see Lars took a stand.
Those guys were told.
Yeah, you don't like
Japanese.
You don't like that.
I don't like it. That. No,
you didn't like my ghost ride at San Diego.
No, none of that. No, that bike. No,
you're fully on board with the Japanese. Let's be clear.
You guys missed it though. We brought
you brought out a stock bike
rider underneath our, and he was riding, I think, pretty much a stock bike. So I'm like, because I missed the first part of the celebration, so I went over there and it was Eli and Justin's bike. So I'm like, well, we probably need to get a Honda over here. So I went over there and asked them. They said no to the race bikes. I think Trey actually has to ride it next week. So
yeah, exactly. Keep your hands off it.
Can we take the stock bike? So I rode it over there, and so we had the stock bike. Yeah. And I guess it was good.
I mean, whatever. This bike just got you the
you don't
win.
I mean, he
like
still
you don't like that
hammered.
view.
He
You know.
still hammered that stock bike like nobody's business. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure what you're
well-
exactly happy about.
Whatever. It's not. I mean, I'm not happy about the stock bike, but I'm it's okay. It's maybe a compromise. Maybe we can reach a compromise.
All I can tell you,
Steve, were
we
you
had
there?
Yeah, I was there.
we had a hell of a good time.
Oh, by the celebration, you
Did
mean?
you rev the bike?
no.
No,
No,
I
he
did
did not participate.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
No.
that's hypocritical if you rev.
No,
if
I
you
would have
revved it.
if they had done that and Weege and JT got to do Tomac's bike. We'll talk about that later.
I saw JT's video.
If
And I
they-
think I was there when Weege got on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not realize. I saw these photos today, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know Sexton was 2 feet to my left. I was focused
Yeah, no,
on
I
other
was
things.
there. I was-
if someone had brought me over there, I would have went rum rum and walked away. That's what I would have
Not
done.
tried to blow it up.
Nope, I would have just
Yep.
went rum rum. Great.
What
Let's
is
go.
your thoughts on that? You just don't like the abuse on the bikes?
Okay. This bike, it's the loving, tender. So many hours are put into it by the mechanic, by the motor guy. Everybody trying to make
It's
this
an
thing great.
inanimate object. Doesn't have emotions.
Everything is there's a lot of money in that bike, a lot of parts, a lot of expenses, and also, so why blow it up? Why treat it badly? That's one. Two, you could have an injury. We had one blow up and hurt Paul Delorier. A moose blew out in Jet's bike. We've seen these things happen before. You could literally create an injury by the bike blowing up. That's no good. Oh, Destinations 2018. The KTM guys, somebody kicked it into gear. It shot rocks everywhere and hit like 20 people, just a bunch of rocks. Just bang, 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 bang. They're like, so now you're like literally injuring people. Two, you just did this a remarkable thing, this bonding moment with your team and the fans and everybody else. Can we just sit around and talk to each other like humans and celebrate this and say, man, thanks for
Hell
your
no.
help.
Hell no.
Thanks
Don't
for
think
very
that'd be
much.
quite the same.
You know,
You gotta get
but-
raw. You gotta get a little
Instead, you
Thank you.
can't have a fucking conversation with anybody because
No.
everyone's revving the shit out of the bike.
The
Yeah.
emotion and the joy that was going on.
How about you
and
just
the
hug each
celebration.
other? Hug each other. There's your emotion.
Sounds
There's your
gay.
joy.
Honestly, though, I know you guys were there. That was probably Eli was loving it.
It was so much fun.
Yeah,
I
great.
have
Okay,
seen- I
great.
have not
Well,
seen that side of him. I don't think anyone's ever
I don't
seen
know if
that side of
anybody
him.
has.
Yeah.
It was super cool because even after that, we went over to the Alpine Star thing and we
Mm-hmm.
just kept the vibe going, and it got even better under the 10 over there. So
Yeah.
it was
Listen.
it was he had the tear offs and he was putting them in behind the pipe. It was,
Yeah, and then
dying.
next thing you know, it blows up and we lose Tomac or
Hey.
whatever. You just never
All
know.
I can- all I
It's
can-
just-
like a meteorite.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is that Jelly, Eli Tomac's
Yeah.
mechanic, was leading the
That's
charge.
fine.
Leading
That's
the charge.
fine.
That's all you need to know.
That's fine.
That's all you
I'll
need to
speak
know.
to Jelly about that.
I think
but,
you're going to lose that
You
one.
know, I've been in the A Stars thing when USA wins and the limoncello shots and everyone's having a great time. Let's just keep it to that. I stand with Lars. Lars and I are united.
Lars stood on the orders he was given.
No, Lars.
Absolutely.
No, Lars thinks it's dumb. Also, I've had conversations with him, so I stand with Lars.
But I actually think my bike was over there at one point.
Well, we'll speak to somebody
Yeah.
about that.
It was over there because I think I saw a video of my mechanic Zim revving it. So I'm like, so it was over there, but I think they took it away. 'Cause
That's good.
they weren't so.
I like that.
don't
Well, listen, that's
One of
about.
Steve's worst takes. We're experiencing.
Thank
That's
you.
saying a lot.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a great take. I stand with Lars.
It was awesome.
Chase, good job, man. Way to rise to the occasion. The weather was crappy. It didn't matter. Great work for you and your teammates. Thank you for doing the show tonight, too. Thanks very much, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
good-
we appreciate it.
Congrats,
Thank you.
man.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me on, and yeah, stoked we could win it for you there, Steve.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks,
Yeah,
Chase.
we.
Thanks, man.
We.
All right. That's Chase Sexton, everybody. Brought to you by the folks at Wisco Piston. Coming up with Sam Jones right away. Todd's on one. Todd, what's up, man?